show an interesting knight and pawn ending played by Nimzowitsch to Divya Deshmukh in 1925. Let's bring the first position on the board. We have king e1, pawn a2, b2, h2, g2, f2, e3, rook h1, rook c1, knight b3. For black we have king e8, pawns h7, g7, f7, e6, a7, b7, rook h8, rook d8 and knight b4. So Divya, we have this position where it's a knight and pawn ending. Both sides have two rooks each. It's white to play. Black is threatening knight d3 check and also knight a2 in some cases. Now first I want you to look at the position and give me your impression. What did you see in this position?
I see that maybe the C and D file are the most important files here right now. And the pawn structure is similar. And I think black's knight is better for now, as it is furthermost and it has active squares to go on.
Okay. So we have two files, C and D files. They are important files because they are open. Black's knight is slightly more active.
Yeah.
Okay. And pawns are similar files, so it's a symmetrical pawn structure.
Yes.
Okay, so one important thing we have to remember is we have two cases which we already have brought it out. One is a similar pawn structure and also it's a knight and pawn ending. Okay. So in similar pawn structures, we have to remember that the side with most active pieces will have advantage. Okay, so whenever you play in symmetrical pawn structures, try to keep your pieces more active. Don't keep them passive. Okay, this is one thing you have to remember. And the other thing is knight and pawn ending. So whenever you are playing knight and pawn ending, try to advance your pawns and restrict opponent knight. Okay, but the problem is when you move the pawns too much, they can become weak. The pawns themselves can become weak. They can also create some weak squares. Okay, so you have to be careful about that. But if you want to restrict opponent knight, you must do it by advancing the pawns. So two things: advance